So yeah, there's this little bicep slicer here. It's basically a kamikaze on the arm. For people who've done the sneaky kamikaze, right? So the way I get out of this is the same, right? The only difference is like he's trying to pull my arm in to finish this. So when I make this turn, I connect to my hand and I push so he can't bend that in, right? And then now, like, keep it tight. Now it's about trying to wiggle this through. So the nice thing about him being attached to my arms instead of my legs is my shoulders have pretty good flexibility and so do my wrists. So I can start wiggling and working my hand through. And then once my hand is through, now I can pull my elbow out again. Come back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I turn and face it too. One is it makes me stronger, makes it easier for me to suck my elbow in, but it also allows me to look at what kind of entanglement he has on my arm. And so I can weave my hand through, right? And then suck it in, spin, reverse it, right? Cool. Any other questions on that?
There's more like a question about finishing that one choke, one crucifix.
The basic choke?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can go over that. So, yeah, it's pretty fine. Right, so we land here. So the choke he's talking about is the one where you come through with a single arm and you finish, right? So the key to this is when I get to this finish, I need to be here. I need my head next to his head because it's just like a rear naked choke, right? So when I finish my rear naked choke, I need my chin on his shoulder, right? So where people go wrong is they'll try to catch it and their head's way back here, right? And like now, like I can't get under his chin. I don't have the angle. I can't finish this. Like he doesn't like it, but he's not gonna tap to this, right? So I get my head low, right? When I'm here, I control his hand with my hand. I'm not holding his arm. I grab his hand. So now I can control his arm with one hand. If I just grab here, he can just straighten his arm, right? If I grab his hand, I own his arm, right? Now, I take my thumb and I just connect it to my first knuckle and it makes that nice little point right there, right? So I'm taking that and I'm going right behind his ear and I slide it down into under his chin. And I go to his shoulder and I catch that. I cover it with my chin and now I just pull that elbow back for the finish. Does that make sense? So, yeah, so that's how we finish that choke. So the big thing is like if I'm way out here, it's gonna be hard to do, right? And that's why if I want that choke, like I'll pull him in with my knees, get my chin to his shoulder. Now I can sink it in and finish, right? Cool. You guys want to play with that for a minute?
Yes.
Yes? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right, so now this is really terrible. So the problem here is there's a dilemma for me. If I don't do anything with this arm, he attacks the Kimura and he finishes this. If I protect this, then he can pull my elbow and he can finish the triangle. Right? So this is a really, really bad spot for me. Right? So what I'm gonna do is I can't do this. Right? So I grab my own leg to protect my arm. Right? He's not controlling my legs just like before. So now I have the ability to straighten this, to start trying to make my way out. So like we did before, I'm gonna swing my hips. As I do, I'm gonna have to let go of my leg to get the torque to pop my head through. Now I can suck my arm in and I come back to the same thing we were doing before. All right? This does not work 100% of the time. Like you really messed up, you got here, right? But instead of just being like, well, I guess I'm dead, right? We can try. Right? So the first thing, I'm gonna grab my own leg. So I grab it just like I grab rubber guard, because this locks my arm in, so he can't like try to finish a Kimura.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't just simply grab here, because he can pull my hand to the inside to break it free, and then he can still finish the Kimura. Right? So I'm grabbing like I'm grabbing a rubber guard. So we're here. Now I bring my knees towards his head, and then I'm gonna rock him all the way the other way. As I do, I'm bringing this arm up against my head as tight as I can get it. I wanna make this as narrow as I can to come through this space, right? To come through. Does that make sense? Cool, let's try it. 3, 2, 1.